All right, folks, Gene Galin here. Come on, roll back. Gene Galin here with the Chatham Journal. I'm here with Kyle Stinson. We're in the Seaforth gym. You've got your student athlete in North Carolina High School Athletic Advisory Board. So that's some of the things we're going to be talking with Kyle, because he's been involved with a lot of things going on both the statewide level as well as the national level. He's got something coming up this Saturday. But let's kick it off. How did you get involved and selected for the North Carolina High School Athletic Association? It's a student, is it Student Advisory Council?
Student Athlete, yep.
Okay.
So yeah, on the state level, it's the Student Athlete Advisory Council under the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. And so there's different regions, and this was an opportunity that I saw, I think, mid-freshman year over Christmas break, and I was like, this is something I definitely want to do. But I waited to apply for it until sophomore year, when I feel like I would have had a little bit more ground under my feet, especially under a new school. So talked with Coach Amy, filled out the application, and submitted it. They did have to reject some applications on the state level from what I heard, but fortunately enough, we had a conference that April where we brought some of our student athletes, so that was April of 2023, to a conference in Greensboro. It was the statewide leadership conference, and I got to talk with Q Tucker, the commissioner, Evan Sauer, who oversees the student programs, and kind of got going from there. They saw my face, they got to see who I was, and then I ended up getting accepted towards the end of the school year.
All right, so you had to fill out the application, and then you actually have to go through a somewhat, it sounds like an interview process. Yeah,
fill out the application, and it's really good for them, I think, to kind of get to know who you are. It's not a formal interview process, but at least I got to put myself out there. And there's only, like for our region, Region 5, which is Chatham County as well as a few other counties to the west and east of us, we only have 4 people. But, so it's really nice to not be competitive with your Raleigh schools and stuff. I'm glad I'm not in the same region as those schools.
Yeah, it looks like you were there with R.J. Reynolds, and there was someone from Eastern Alamance.
Eastern Alamance, yes sir, yep.
So it's all within the area.
Yeah.
What's your function as a Student Advisory Council member? The North Carolina High School Athletic Association oversees all the high school sports within the state of North Carolina, but what's your function on being a part of the Student Advisory Council?
Definitely. So especially, it's really advocating for the athletes in our region. So we got to connect with all of the counties that we represent in our region, Region 5, and they know who we are. So if we have any initiatives from the state level, whether that's sportsmanship, Ticket or Click It, not drinking and driving, we can send those to the counties, and they can kind of send those out to their area. Because I represent Seaforth, and then I represent a county, and a region now, and then a national level now. But it's easier just to be able to connect with those schools, send things that we have on the state level initiative-wise out to them.
All right, and you do play sports here at Seaforth.
I do play sports, yes sir.
And what sport do you play?
Well, me and Harper the Hawk, the mascot, are pretty close. I'd like to say.
Are we supposed to not mention that you might actually be inside of it?
I don't know who's inside it, but I don't know, Gene, but I also play tennis, so yeah, that's something that I took up the summer coming to Seaforth.
All right, now I got a question. Since I have noticed that basketball games you're usually behind the scoreboard, so you can't be in 2 places at one time. So what's the Hawk doing?
So the Hawk is, for the basketball season, taking a break right now. We're identifying some other people who'd like to step up and take on Harper. That reason, I did it for football, but for basketball, the need occurred that we really need more support for our student athletes, more support for our sidelines, for our refs, for our student section, and for Coach Amy. So I talked with Coach Amy, and I was like, Coach Amy, I wrote him a plan, and I was like, these are the responsibilities I'd like to take on for basketball. So yep, doing the scoreboard now, announcing, working with our coaches, our referees, our student section, making sure communication is there so that when you come to Seaforth, we're protecting our house. We got everything taken under control.
Okay. But the real reason is you got tired of being inside that costume.
It would get hot sometimes. It
wasn't too bad during football season.
No.
But
basketball, yeah.
I had the opportunity with going with the ACC mascots when they did a championship game down in Jacksonville, and probably the smelliest room in the whole area was where all of the mascots were. So did you carry around a bottle of Febreze like those guys did?
Yes, and our cheerleaders definitely know what that Febreze smells like. So.
Okay. Yes, being a mascot, not that you are a mascot, is a tough job to do. How'd you get involved in tennis?
Tennis, was something that I felt interested to do. We didn't have a mascot the first year at Seaforth, so I knew I wanted to play a sport. I knew I wanted to get into high school sports. I didn't play anything in middle school. I went to Horton Middle School, so. But yeah, I took it on, got good at it, and here we are now, representing that sport as well. So yeah, definitely a summer interest that turned into high school sport.
All right, getting back to some of the stuff you're doing at the advisory committee at the state level, what have you found the most fulfilling? What have you enjoyed doing the most? What's been the biggest plus for you, for the school, and just overall for North Carolina High School Athletic Association Student Advisory Council?
It's definitely sharing that student voice. We hear a lot of decisions are made, and the High School Athletic Association really prides itself on having that student voice now, so that we can voice our opinions. So, especially with the realignment that's going on with the moving up to 8 classifications now, students were able to voice their support, their opinions, and kind of figure out how will this affect student athletes, mentally, physically, working with other schools, things like that. And one thing that I'm on top of the student support, I really like to do is support all of our schools. So I'm at the Northwood games supporting their basketball teams. When they played Myers Park, I was there because
I saw you.
I represent Myers Park. Like, they're a school, but I represent them in the state now. So getting to see and feel kind of what those athletes feel, because I don't play basketball, I don't play football, but I've gotten to get to know what they feel. And I feel like connecting with them, having those conversations, and getting to learn about what they feel is really what I'm proud of.
Going back to the classifications, I know that's been a difficult discussion for a lot of folks. There's a lot of pros and cons, and the decision has been made to go to 8 classifications. What was the input from you, and what was the input from the other folks in the student council?
Definitely that we feel like it will, no one, as students we knew we had a say, but in reality it would be the board for the North Carolina High School Athletic Association that would decide on it, but we really did just feel that it would be a good change for the state between the relationship between the High School Athletic Association and the North Carolina General Assembly, that we feel like this was the best resolution to kind of diminish everything.
All right, and how long is your term on the Student Advisory Council?
It will be until I graduate in 2025.
All right, which is next year.
Which is next year.
Which is next year. He's a junior.
A junior.
Hey, look, I can figure those things out. All right, the other thing too is you don't just play sports, but you're also volunteering with other outside organizations. What are some of those? Definitely
the Special Olympics. Special Olympics is something that I really pride myself in. Northwood has their unified club. Every school in the county has a unified club. Coach Jamie started one at Seaforth, and so being a part of a unified club, being an officer, has led me to learn about other opportunities to lead aspects of Special Olympics groups. So like for the dance, for their summer games that is held in June, I got to oversee logistics. And watching those student athletes who aren't able to play sports like I can, or able to play sports like everyone else, get to have fun and play their sports. And really, I cried a little bit because it's really emotional seeing how happy they are doing things that make them happy.
All right, we're going to talk about moving into the national thing, but I just want to make sure that we're going well. And yes, we are. The cameras are rolling and rocking. All right. So you've done the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Student Council level, but you've now moved into the sphere of the national.
National level, yes,
all
sir.
right. Tell me how that progressed and what you're doing at the national level.
Yes, so I got to attend a summit before I got invited to attend an all expense paid summit over the summer at the North Carolina High School Athletic Association.
This past summer,
yes, sir. Yep, so I got invited to do that before I was officially accepted into the SAC program for the state level. But
wait, SAC
is the student athlete group.
Okay.
The student athlete advisory. That's what we'll refer to it as.
No, that's fine. We just want to make sure folks understand acronyms.
Student athlete advisory.
There you go.
Awesome. So yeah, so there was a summit held in Indianapolis, great city, that we got to go to, 6 students from the state level. And that is what qualified me to take part on the National Student Advisory Council overseeing athletics and the arts as well, since the National Federation of High Schools oversees both of those. So I got a text back in October, actually the week that I was paging with the governor, and it said, Kyle, would you like to represent Section 3 on the NFHS?
Did you have to think about that a long time?
No, I didn't.
Didn't think so.
I didn't, because I know that opportunities like this are really rare. I'm 17, and I feel like I'm at the perfect age that things have just come naturally, and I haven't really had to ask for a lot of things. I've just been presented with opportunities that are hard to pass on.
How's your mom and dad take that? It's like, okay, Kyle, what are you up to now?
Yeah, my mom always says, as long as you're making smart decisions, smart choices, you'll be good. And she's been one of my biggest supporters because she knows that I pile a lot of things on, that I got a lot of things going on in my life between all of my activities and academics, because we are student athletes. and everything else in the community, especially taking time for myself. She really wants to make sure that I am doing things that staying on top of academics and taking time for myself.
When you take time for yourself, what kind of things are you doing?
So I actually do enjoy reading. I think science fiction books are really interesting to me, little futuristic things. Hanging out with friends and getting to, that kind of goes back into those relations. So a lot of my friends are student athletes. I talk to a lot of people at Seaforth. In the hallways, I'm saying hey to everyone. That's why I enjoy being here. So.
All right, so it sounds like you're up for a challenge. So let's say a few years from now, someone texts you, Kyle, would you be interested in going on a flight to Mars? What would you say?
I'd say yes. I'd say yes, and I'd try and make it work. I know things may change, but try and make it work.
Are you sure your mom would be okay with that?
I hope by then she'd be okay, yes.
All right. Is the thing you're doing this Saturday, is that part of this national effort?
It is, yes, sir. So I actually get to meet Olivia Elder, who's from the Georgia High School Athletic Association. We represent Section 3, which represents the southern states. So we'll fly out to Indianapolis Saturday morning. We're going to have a lot of meetings. It's going to be meeting focused. We get to go out to dinner one night, but it's very heavily meeting where we can talk about on a national level, what do students want to see? How can we recognize schools that are in our section? How do we promote athlete mental health and opportunities for other athletes to get involved on a national level?
All right. When they sent out the press release as to the people who were selected, there were 3 key things that they were looking for. One of them was determine and develop actions the council should take to gather insight and experience of students in high schools and the states with each section. So you're in there for North Carolina and Georgia. Identify and communicate areas of support that may be needed from the NFHS and state associations, and identify and communicate ideas for increasing student involvement in co-curricular activities when needed. Is that something you're going to be doing this Saturday, or is that something you've been doing all along?
It's something that really got kickstarted once more information was sent out about the national level. So Section 3 is 8 states from Florida to Louisiana to North Carolina. That's our section. So what me and Olivia have done is take the initiative to contact each high school athletic association within our section and introduce ourselves. Say, hey, would you be a good contact for when we want to know more about what your state wants to see? A lot of states have student athlete advisory programs already. So me and Olivia aren't going to go in and start contacting schools in Orlando or Louisiana individually. We want to hear from those students on the state level that can kind of report back to us. So really getting a whole representation. And yeah, we will advocate for things like more, student sections at high school are doing amazing things. How can we promote our student sections, our athletes? How do we get the most out of the accomplishments of our athletes? So yeah.
All right, and for example, at this meeting you're going to Saturday, it sounds like you're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. How's that get communicated back to the area? Does that come through you, or does it come through the association, or how does that information get back to the community, to the schools?
So yeah, I think with the association will take part of the National Federation of High Schools will kind of give that promotional aspect of documenting what we're talking about, taking photos, getting to share that out on the national level, but then, the athletes and students who sit on this council will have to, it's almost like our responsibility to go back and report back to our section. So me and Olivia will most likely do a newsletter or a video even, kind of detailing what we talked about, so that our state high school athletic associations understand the work that we're doing.
You're doing something else as well. You're involved with the North Carolina Association of Student Council's leadership. That's different from sports.
Yes, sir.
What is that all about?
So yeah, so locally I was able to create 2 leadership programs at North Chatham and Pittsboro. I'm going to be a future educator actually, coming back to Chatham to teach.
Okay.
So that.
Wait. Are you gunning for Coach Amy's job, or you don't want to answer that question right now?
My mouth is shut on that one. Yeah, my mouth. Yeah. No, teaching is something that I'm very passionate about. So I created those leadership programs. Got to apply to be a page for under Governor Lori Cooper. So I got to do that. Very awesome guy. Got to talk with him about education in North Carolina. And no matter anyone's political beliefs, I think education is something that everyone can come to a collective agreement on and focus on what is the best for our students, for our schools. And also under the North Carolina Association of Student Councils, they have a week-long camp in Mars Hill, which not a lot of people know where that is. It's above Asheville.
Yeah, it's not very far from here.
It's not terrible. So they have a week-long camp where you get to stay there. It's like 6 a.m. mornings to 11 o'clock at night days, but it's really fun connecting with other student leaders all across the state.
How long does that continue? Because you mentioned the sports council continues till the end of next year for you. How about this?
These will be opportunities that will continue on until I graduate.
All right. You're not planning to go here for 5 years now?
No, I am. Nope, no super senior. I will not be. That is one of the first that I refuse to want to have, is being a super senior.
Wait, aren't you like a super junior though?
You know, everybody thinks that I have a bed upstairs, or there's a secret pool, or that when Mr. Creighton was here, I was his son. So, you know.
We're not going to go there. All right. Hey, the other thing too is if you want to see a picture of Kyle with the governor, you can go to Facebook. And the Chatham County Schools put up a picture of the governor. They're both holding up one.
One Chatham, Dr. Jackson will love that.
One Chatham, and there's a picture of him standing at the bottom of the stairs. Is there anything else we need to cover about your sports, leadership, or any other activities?
No, I think I'd just like to say that it's really a privilege to be able to have these opportunities, and I really do want other schools in North Carolina, other states, districts to be able to know that we are here to support you. It's not trying to have a big ego or whatever when we're trying to put our name out there, but it's really so that you know there's people who represent you, there's people who care about your student athletes, your school, your athletic culture, your school culture. So that's really something that I do want schools to understand is contact me any day of the night, any time of the night, any day. We really do want to be there for you.
I'm sure your mom wants people contacting you after 11 o'clock.
After my 11. I need my sleep sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. Just contact them at a reasonable time.
Yes.
All right. I will let folks know. I let Kyle know that I was going to ask him this question before we finished up this conversation. So right now, if you're watching this, we recorded this in January, is it 17th?
18th.
18th, I'm a day behind. 18th of 2024. My question now I was going to ask Kyle, and I am going to ask Kyle, 2040, 16 years from now, how old are you going to be?
2006 to 34.
All right, so you're going to be 34. If YouTube still happens to be around, and you pull up this video, and you're looking at it at the age of 34, what do you want to say to your 34-year-old self? And look in the camera and tell yourself.
I would say to my 34-year-old self, you were surrounded by people who cared about you, surrounded by people who advocated for you, who were there for you during your upsides and your downsides. There's people who really wanted to get your name out there. So I'd really say that you were loved, you were supported, and you were cared for.
All right, and who knows, Kyle may have kids by then, and he'll get to share this video with his kids, and they'll go, oh, Dad. All right, Kyle, anything else, or are we ready to wrap it up?
I think we're ready to wrap it up. I'm super excited to see what the future holds.
All right, Kyle, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, 2040, look for it.
2040, yes, sir.